Mark, do you see that person in the green jacket walking toward us right now?
Yeah, she looks very friendly, Anna. She's actually waving at us, and she definitely just said your name. Do you know her?
That is the problem, Mark. I know that I know her. I recognize her face perfectly. I think we met at that networking event last month and talked for at least an hour about our travel plans. But as she gets closer, I am realizing that her name has completely vanished from my mind. My heart is starting to race, my palms are getting a little sweaty, and I feel like I just want to turn around and run away.
I know that exact feeling of panic, Anna. It is that moment where your brain feels like a blank piece of paper. You are searching for the name, but there is nothing there. For many people learning English, this is even more stressful because you often feel like it is a failure of your language skills. You think to yourself, if I were a better English speaker, I would remember this. But the truth is, this happens to everyone, including native speakers. It is a very common human experience.
It really is. But when you are living your life in English, these moments feel high stakes. You don't want to seem rude or uninterested. If you want to learn how to handle these real-life moments with confidence and clarity, make sure to subscribe to the Everyday English podcast and hit the notification bell. We are here every day to help you navigate these tricky daily situations so you can live your life in English without the fear of making a mistake. Today, Mark and I are going to talk about how to handle this exact social freeze.
Exactly. The first thing we need to address is the mistake most people make when they forget a name. Most people try to fake it. They nod, they smile, and they use generic words like friend or man, or they just avoid using a name entirely. Anna, why is that such a dangerous trap for English learners?
It's a trap because it creates a massive amount of cognitive load. That is a fancy way of saying your brain is working too hard. If you are pretending to remember someone's name, you are spending 50% of your energy worrying about being caught. That means you only have 50% of your energy left to actually speak English. Your grammar will suffer, your pronunciation will get worse, and you will seem distant or distracted. The person you are talking to will feel that something is wrong, and they might think you don't like them.
That is so true. When you hide the truth, you build a wall between yourself and the other person. You become an anxious perfectionist instead of a resilient communicator. So instead of faking it, we need to use what we call the honest pivot. This is where you admit the name has slipped your mind, but you do it in a way that is polite and professional.
I love that phrase, it slipped my mind. We heard it in our anchor video today, and it is a perfect example of natural English. It sounds much softer and more natural than saying, I forgot. When you say, my name is forgotten, it sounds a bit heavy or even robotic. But it slipped my mind suggests that the name was there, but it just moved away for a moment. It is very forgiving.
It really is. Let's look at the grammar of that for a second. It slipped my mind. The subject is it, which refers to the name. The verb is slip, like when you walk on ice and your foot moves. So the name just slipped out of your memory. Anna, how would you actually say this to the woman in the green jacket who is now standing right in front of us?
I would start with a warm smile. You have to show them that you are happy to see them. I would say, oh, it is so good to see you again. I remember our conversation about Japan so clearly, but I am so embarrassed. Your name has just slipped my mind for a moment. Could you remind me?
That is perfect. You did two very important things there. First, you gave her a specific detail, the conversation about Japan. This proves that you value her and that you remember the person even if you don't remember the label. Second, you used the phrase remind me. This is much better than asking what is your name. Asking what is your name can feel a bit cold, like you were meeting for the first time. Remind me implies that you knew it once and you just need a little help to find it again.
It's a very small change in words, but a huge change in how the other person feels. Another great phrase to use in this situation is, it's right on the tip of my tongue. This is a very common idiom. It means you feel like you are about to remember the word or the name, but you can't quite say it yet. It shows that you are trying hard to remember.
I use that one all the time. You could say, oh, I was just thinking about our meeting. Your name is right on the tip of my tongue, but I've had a bit of a brain fog today. Remind me? This word, brain fog, is another great one for our listeners to learn. It describes that feeling when your mind is cloudy and you can't think clearly. Maybe you didn't sleep well or you've been working too hard. People always understand brain fog.
They really do. It makes you human. Now, once you have admitted that you forgot the name, you have a second opportunity to fix the situation. This is what we call the contact rescue. In the modern world, we don't just ask for a name, we ask for contact details. This can be an email, a phone number, or a social media handle.
This is a great move because it gives you a practical reason to see their name written down. If you are in a professional setting, you might say, "I'd love to stay in touch and send you that article we discussed. Could I get your contact details?" Or, "What's the best way to reach you?"
And here is a secret trick for everyone listening. I call it the misspell trick. If you are putting their name into your phone, you can ask, "How do you spell your name?" Even if their name is something common like Sarah or John, they might spell it Sarah or Sara, or Jon versus John. When they spell it for you, you can see the name and you can say, "Oh, I wanted to make sure I got the spelling right." It makes you look very detail-oriented and thoughtful, rather than someone who just forgot.
That is a brilliant tip, Anna. It's a way to be clever without being dishonest. You are showing that you care about the details of their identity. However, we have to be careful about which contact details we ask for. This is where many English learners get confused. If you are at a work event, asking for a WhatsApp number might be too personal in some cultures. Usually, LinkedIn or email is the safest professional bet.
Exactly. You could say, "Are you on LinkedIn? I'd love to connect there." It's very low pressure. But if you are at a party, like the one we were imagining, LinkedIn might be too formal. In that case, asking for an Instagram handle or just a phone number is more common. The key is to match the energy of the event.
Let's talk about a different scenario. What if you aren't at a party? What if you are in the office and you are walking toward the elevator and you see a senior manager? They say, "Morning, Anna, how's it going?" And you realize you forgot their name, but you also realize you are in a bit of a hurry to get to a meeting. This is a double problem.
That is a high-stress situation. In this case, you can combine the techniques. You don't have time for a long explanation about brain fog. You need to be quick and polite. You could say, "Good morning. Things are going well, but I'm actually in a bit of a rush to get to the boardroom. I'd love to catch up properly later. Remind me of your name again. I want to make sure I send that invite to the right person."
See, you gave a reason. You connected the name to a specific task, the meeting invite. This makes the question feel professional rather than personal. And by saying you are in a bit of a hurry, you are using a phrase from our Anchor video that perfectly explains why the interaction is short. It sets a boundary.
Boundaries are so important for confidence. Many learners feel like they have to stay and struggle through a conversation because they don't know how to leave. But saying, "I've got to run," or "I'm in a bit of a rush," is a very normal thing for native speakers to say. It doesn't mean you are being rude. It means you are a busy person with a life.
Let's move to our final strategy, which is the future-proof reset. This is a habit I want all of our listeners to try. Sometimes the best way to find out someone's name is to reintroduce yourself first. This takes the pressure off the other person.
How would that work in practice, Mark?
Well, if I see someone and I'm not 100% sure they remember me, or if I've forgotten their name, I'll lead with my own name. I'll say, "Hey, we met at the gym, right? I'm Mark, by the way." Usually, when I say my name, the other person will immediately respond with theirs. They will say, "Oh, right, I'm Sarah." It's a social reflex. By giving your name first, you are being generous. You are saying, "I'm going to help you out in case you forgot who I am."
That is a very kind way to handle social interaction. It's about being the leader of the conversation. When you take the lead, you control the flow. You aren't just waiting and hoping things go well. You are making them go well. And even if they did remember your name, it doesn't hurt to say it again. It just reinforces the connection.
We have covered a lot of ground today. We talked about the honesty of saying it slipped my mind. We talked about using the tip of my tongue and brain fog to describe that feeling of forgetfulness. We talked about the contact rescue and the misspell trick. And we just talked about the social reset. Anna, if you had to give our listeners one piece of advice to try today, what would it be?
My challenge for everyone listening is to stop being afraid of the mistake. The next time you forget a word or a name, do not apologize like you have done something wrong. Instead, use one of our bridge phrases. Use "it's right on the tip of my tongue," or "I'm having a bit of a brain fog." Treat it like a small, funny problem, not a disaster. When you stay calm, the other person stays calm too. That is such a powerful shift in mindset. Remember, fluency isn't about being perfect. Fluency is about being able to keep the conversation going even when things aren't perfect. It is about repair. In a car, the engine might have a small problem, but if you have a good mechanic, you can fix it and keep driving. These phrases are your tools to fix the conversation and keep moving toward fluency. I also want to remind everyone that intonation is key. When you say, "I'm so sorry, your name has just slipped my mind," make sure your voice is light and friendly. If you say it with a very low, sad voice, it feels heavy. But if you say it with a little smile in your voice, it sounds like a common, everyday occurrence. People are generally very kind and happy to help you. They really are. Most people are more worried about themselves than they are about you. They might even be relieved that you forgot their name because they might have forgotten yours too. It happens more often than you think. It really does. I've been in so many situations where both people admitted they forgot each other's names and we ended up laughing about it. That laugh actually made us better friends than if we had both pretended to remember. Honesty creates real connection. So let's recap the main phrases for our listeners to practice. First, it slipped my mind. This is your best friend for when you forget a name or an appointment. Second, remind me. Use this instead of "what is your name" to stay polite. Third, in a bit of a hurry. This is your exit phrase when you need to move on. Fourth, contact details. Use this to get information in a professional way. And finally, brain fog or tip of my tongue, for those moments when your memory is being a bit slow. These phrases are so simple, but they change everything. If you found these tips helpful, please like this video and share it with a friend who is also practicing their English. When you share and interact with our channel, it helps us reach more people who want to live their daily lives in English with confidence. We want to build a community of learners who support each other through these awkward but important social moments. And don't forget to comment below. Tell us about a time you forgot someone's name. What did you say? Did you use a repair phrase or did you try to fake it? We read all your comments and we love hearing your stories. It helps us create better episodes for you in the future. We really do value your input. Your real-life experiences are what makes this podcast special. We aren't just teaching you English from a textbook. We are teaching you the English you need to survive a party, a job interview, or a trip to the grocery store. We are here to help you move from being a student of English to being a speaker of English. That is the ultimate goal, transformation. Moving from that feeling of panic in the kitchen at a party to a feeling of calm confidence where you can say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, your name just slipped my mind." That is real fluency. It's not about knowing every word in the dictionary. It's about knowing how to handle the words you don't know. I couldn't have said it better myself, Mark. It is all about resilience. So take these tools, go out into the world, and don't be afraid to forget a name. You have the scripts now. You have the recovery plan. You are ready to handle whatever social situation comes your way. And remember, every conversation is practice, even the awkward ones, especially the awkward ones. Those are the moments where you learn the most and where you grow the most as a communicator. So embrace the brain fog, use your bridge phrases, and keep talking. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today on the Everyday English Podcast. It is always a pleasure to help you on your journey to fluency. We have so much more to share with you, from work conversations to health and travel, so make sure you stay tuned for our next episode. Keep practicing, keep shadowing our conversations, and most importantly, keep living your life in English. You are doing a great job, and we are proud of the progress you are making every single day. We really are. It takes courage to learn a new language, and even more courage to use it in real life. You have that courage, and we are here to support you every step of the way. See you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone, and happy practicing. Before we go, Mark, I just realized something. What's that, Anna? I forgot to tell everyone about the importance of the follow-up text. Remember we talked about the contact rescue? Oh, right, the immediate value habit. That is a great one to end on. Yes, it's a tiny habit that makes a huge difference. After you get someone's contact details, send them a text or a LinkedIn message within 5 minutes. Just say, "Hey, it was great meeting you today. Here is my number so you have it too." This is great because it solves the name problem forever. Now their name is in your phone and your name is in theirs. No more slipping minds. It's the perfect ending to the story. You move from forgetting their name to being the most organized person they met all day. It's a complete transformation. It really is. It's about turning a small failure into a big win for your personal brand. And that is what we want for all of our listeners, to be the most confident, organized, and friendly version of themselves in English.
Well, now we really are at the end. Thank you for that final tip, Anna. It was a great addition.
My pleasure, Mark. Let's get out of this party kitchen and get ready for the next lesson.
Sounds like a plan. See you soon.
Bye.